Unsolved.
The JonBenet Ramsey case? Let us follow the evidence. Hello, I'm Nancy Drew, and I got assigned this case to solve who killed JonBenet Ramsey. And so I thought I'd bring you along with me as I investigate this case. So let us begin with two photographs of JonBenet Ramsey. The first is the last known photograph of JonBenet, and it shows some of the clothes she was wearing that night. And then this photograph is with her brother on Christmas morning, and she still had on some of the jewelry that she has on in this photograph when she died. JonBenet's body was on her back with her arms extended above her head, covered with a blanket and a Colorado Avalanche sweatshirt. There was a nylon cord around her neck, and the same cord is loosely tied around her right wrist. Some of the observations that I noticed right off the bat is this is a very cruel and violent death. How she was strangled to death with the nylon cord. And it wasn't an accident, and she's been dead for at least 12 hours or more. And she's dressed not in formal pajamas, but with a shirt and long johns. Well, two observations that I notice are that the cord is not tightly tied around her wrist, and she's wearing a hair bun. So looking at these two photographs side by side, isn't that the same hair bun that she had on in her last photo? One thing I see here is her pillow is not at the head of her bed, and then there's a shirt at the top of her bed. And that shirt looks like to me the shirt that she wore on Christmas morning. Well, some observations about the ransom note. It's addressed to Mr. Ramsey, so this murder of his daughter has something to do with him. And then it says a small foreign faction, so it must have to do with his international business. And it says not the country that it serves. So they're angry with America, not just with John Ramsey. And then they're asking for $118,000, which is a small and kind of odd number to ask for. And then it states two gentlemen watching the daughter. So there's more than one person involved in this. And the note keeps referring to JonBenet as your daughter. So it looks like they don't even know her name. Being beheaded seems kind of strong, and it also seems like the way that she died. And then it gets real personal with these John statements. And then the closing is victory, SBTC. So it's like they were victorious by killing JonBenet. Well, this looks like a simple case of revenge against John. Some person came in and killed his little daughter. So what if someone from out of town came to kill JonBenet, and instead of the Ramseys finding their daughter missing in the morning and calling police and having everyone search for JonBenet, the perpetrator wrote this phony ransom note to give himself time to get out of town. He knew they would find the ransom note first and most likely wait the phone call between 8 and 10 a.m., even if they called the police. And so this would give them ample time to get out of town. Well, the one thing I don't want to be accused of is not investigating this case thoroughly. So let's move on to the kitchen. And here we have this mag flashlight that kind of sticks out. So we should fingerprint that and find out whose flashlight that is. Well, the Ramseys had two dining rooms. They had a formal dining room, and then they had this breakfast dining room. And the only observation to make in this room is this bowl of pineapple sitting on the table going foul, and this glass with a tea bag inside of it, which seems very odd that it wouldn't be in a cup. And wouldn't that make the tea way too strong? So it looks like one of the kids got that out. Right here is the scene of the crime in the boiler room, just outside of the wine cellar door. And the reason it is because there's little remnants of the broken paintbrush handle. And you can see that we found one piece of the original paintbrush that was broken. Now, thinking back to the garrote, some of the observations that I see are the unique way that the cord is tied to the paintbrush handle, and how JonBenet's hair is entangled in that, and in the little slip knot to the side there, some of her hair is in that. That does make some sense, because as it was pulled tighter on her neck, it could have entangled her hair in that smaller slip knot. But it's odd that her hair would be entangled in the knot on the paintbrush handle. Now, JonBenet's body is not in the house. It's not in the living room, and it's not in this photograph here. The coroner removed the body, and an autopsy will be done the following day, on the morning of December 27th. Now, this photograph is of a white blanket and JonBenet's pink Barbie nightgown. Now, my observation here is this is highly irregular, that someone would wrap JonBenet's body in this white blanket, including her pink Barbie nightgown. This shows some level of care. And you have this piece of duct tape on her mouth, so that needs to be tested for anything that's on that. Now, as I make my way to the train room, one observation is how messy and cluttered it is down here. There's all kinds of items in the way as you walk to the train room. Now, looking at the broken basement window, you can tell that the break occurred long ago. I mean, there's dust and spider webs, and it's just dirty. And you can see that the window is wide open. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and I apologize that I wasn't able to complete it. So we will pick up with the autopsy report and questioning John and Patsy about what happened. So I'll see you next weekend.